So people ask, how can we solve what's going on in the world? I'm going to figure out in one step. You just stay focused, just one way. All the world's problems can be solved. Incredible. And it's going to take just two steps. So how are we going to do this? So currently, what goes on? 2020, the downturn. People lost their jobs. People lost their living. What happened? People are losing money. So what do? They go, the bank loses money. People can't pay their mortgages, they can't pay their debt. The bank starts losing money. They're about to go bankrupt. Government went, printed tons of dollars, printed tons of debt, and gave it to the people, right? Stimmy checks. I know my friends, all $30,000, $40,000 they got. Straight away, they went to pay off debt. They actually have less debt now than they did in 2019 because they used the government's money to pay off debt. So that's why there were so few delinquencies, so few foreclosures, so few bankruptcies during those years. Everyone thought it would be Armageddon. No, it's fine, the government just printed it. But what did that cause? Massive inflation that we're still coping with, massive debt, government debt is through the roof, and massive taxes. We have the highest, except for America, highest taxes on record, such as the UK. And so the person, the individual, has one of the worst standards of living in history, and that's why we have a low birth rate, low marriage rate, people can't get in the housing ladder, blah, blah, blah. They don't like telling you, they're just telling you GDP is up by 0.001. It's just a fraudulent lie. Let's look at even GDP per capita. Everyone's GDP per capita is going down. Everyone now is poorer than their parents, basically, most people. So that's inflation is up, debt is up, taxes is up, and people are very, very depressed. So how do we solve it? Next downturn, here we go, stage 2. Person has no money. He can't pay the bank, his debts, because there's a downturn, he's been fired, whatever. The government imposes a moratorium. You are not allowed to foreclose on people's houses. Housing is a basic right, just like food, shelter, and clothing. Those are the 3 basic rights. There's no way these people should be allowed to take away people's houses because they can't pay because of it. Just like we gave them free money. I mean, this is illegal. Shouldn't be printing money to give to banks. So just as bad as that was, and people are like now thinking, whoa, what do you mean you're doing something really bad? No, that was bad. The government should not be printing money to save these banks, right? So I just want to impose, I don't even mind, you don't even want to do the moratorium, that's fine. It's just these people will be on the streets. This thing will still happen, but it'll be a double worse. I just think we should speed it up and say, we're not going to take people out of their houses, they go bankrupt anyway, right? They're going to go bankrupt anyway, regardless of if they throw the person out or they don't. They're still going bankrupt. Okay, just take a bit longer. But these banks will have to go bankrupt, thank God. Get rid of all of them. JP Morgan, all these people, you have to understand these are just new banks. They weren't around before. They're just new things that have been held since the Great Depression. We've been putting plasters and feeding them money, always backing them up. We need to get rid of these banks. And that's what will happen if we if we just basically essentially stop printing money and giving it to them. If the government stops backing them up and stops bailing them out, they will go bankrupt. And that's what we need to do. They need to go bankrupt. What will happen then? Immediately the person stays in his house, right? He can survive on basic benefits for food. He's okay. Everyone will have a place. No one's getting chucked out. These guys go bankrupt. Immediately you have deflation, right? Prices go down. Right? Because obviously prices go down because there's no one to buy the goods, you're in a recession, prices go down. Deflation is very good. Economists, they love lying and saying deflation is bad. Deflation is what we need now. We need house prices to halve, not go down 5%. We need house prices to halve. The young are being destroyed here. They don't want to have kids, they don't want to get married, they're living with their parents. It's absolute insanity because they can't buy a house. Enough of this fake housing inflation. We need deflation. Deflation. Second thing, debt goes down, obviously, because it gets wiped out, right? The banks go bankrupt. You don't owe any money anymore. So that's it, your debt's gone. 3, taxes go down. No need to tax people anymore. There's no debt to service. The only reason we have taxes is to service debt. In the UK this year, they will be paying they will borrow 126 billion pounds, and 116 billion pounds of that is going on debt servicing. So you're essentially, well, they're borrowing to pay for interest payments, which is absurd. By decreasing inflation, decreasing debt, decreasing taxes, you have a happier person. He is able to now buy stuff. he can go out with his lower wages, but he can buy assets, he can buy a house, he can buy things, he can start his own bank. There's no more banks anymore, there's no more debt anymore. So the people that get destroyed here are the people with assets, the rich, which basically are just leeches. It's like serfs at the moment. They need to be got rid of and allow organic growth, just like a forest fire destroys everything, but then that allows for new growth to arise. That is what we need. That's the only way to do it. These people need to be taken out. And I'm not being a communist or anything. That is just the way the whole world always worked. Don't think I'm being crazy here. This is the way the world always worked until they were bribed by the banks. Please print money and bail me out, essentially. No bailouts. No bailouts. Government should not get involved. There's a downturn. This guy can't pay. You lose your money. You lose your back. You make your stupid risky bets, banks. You give to people without any jobs. You go and use leverage 10 times, 20 times, 100 times leverage on risky stocks. You go bankrupt. That's what we need. Some real normalcy in the world. These people are the most risky, sick people that are not clever. You think they're clever, they're not clever. They're just evil. They need to be taken out, and the only way to do that is to have normalcy, stop bailing them out, and they will go bankrupt. And then the world will be better.